God is always with us, so let us choose to be with God. John 14, verses 15 through 18. If you love me, you will obey what I command, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. This life is just a journey heading towards eternity. How we live determines how we will spend eternity. This is just the way it is. Whether we believe this as fact is really irrelevant. That's just the way it is. God made us and wants us to be with him. He's always with us. He is God. The trick for us is to be with him. Life is full of ups and downs, good times, bad, evil and good both reside in the world, but our job is to walk with honor, to please God and be with him. Think about why we exist. God made man in his image to rule over all the earth. Genesis chapter 1, verses 27 and 28. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves on the ground. See, God made people to enjoy life and to be with him. It's just that simple. When I turned 50, life started to make more sense. When we're younger, we want to be successful in life. We have marriage, careers, culture. All are important, and we work hard to make these things a priority. Men, at least back then, were raised to be the breadwinners and care for our families. We tried to choose careers that would provide well and worked hard to teach our families to be honorable citizens. Sometimes that worked out and sometimes it did not. Women usually wanted children and had a desire to be caregivers. That's just the nature God designed. There are variations, but overall, that's what men and women do. It's the way we were made. Biology determines outcomes on the cellular level, and environment shapes the rest. That has been the basic norm for millennia. Things seem to be changing in our current culture, but I still believe the basic format is in our DNA. When we get older, it all starts to come together. Why we made the family and career choices become more clear. Our outlook on life has been determined, and there's little chance of change. Sometimes they do, but mostly they don't. Our personalities dictate what we do, where we go, and who we spend time with. The most important thing in my journey has been my walk with God. Now that I'm older, I understand how important that has been. I was blessed to have godly parents that taught us to put God first, family second, and careers last, so that it has been my road that has been my roadmap. I've worked to try and pass this plan on to my children. I've been blessed with a wife who is more concerned with this roadmap as well, so our lives have been wonderful. Times have changed. We seem to live in a culture that really does not put God front and center. Paul told us this would happen in 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 1 through 5. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. For people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. Stay away from people like that. This passage pretty much describes our culture today. I've never seen hate and selfishness like it exists today. Jesus also warned us in Matthew chapter 24, verses 12 through 13. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. So how do we survive? God is always with us when we're awake, asleep, at work, playing, fishing, golfing, driving. He is always with us. At least he is with those who love him, according to what Jesus said in John chapter 14, verse 15 and through 17. If you love me, obey my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate who will never leave you. He is the Holy Spirit who leads into all truth. The world cannot receive him because it isn't looking for him and doesn't recognize him. But you know him because he lives with you now and later will be in you. You see, we have a promise from God that when we obey him, he will never leave us. The trick is for us to be with him. When we choose to be with God, we have power to survive. God does not always take away the bad things we deal with, but he always provides a way through. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. He did not say all things would be good. He said all things work out to the good. Joseph was wrongly imprisoned, but God directed his path, and he ended up being the second most powerful man in Egypt and saved the lives of almost everyone. What a legacy. Jesus was innocent, but murdered by those claiming to be righteous. But look what his resurrection caused. Salvation to the world. Talk about bad things working out for the good. We have to choose God. We have to choose to be with God in all things. We are mortal, and making this choice is often difficult. We don't necessarily think about it in spiritual terms. We're focused on life, and when a situation happens, we naturally try and figure out a way to deal with it on natural terms. When we stop and remember God is in control, always, and choose to involve him, our perspective will change, and we can find peace and comfort where it seems impossible. That is the beauty of being with God. He has this. All things, good and bad, regardless of what we think the outcome will be, God is in control if we love him. We put undue stress on ourselves when we are not with God. When we take it back from him and try to work it out on our own, we end up adding so much more stress, and it's just not necessary. God has this, period. When we trust him, it all works out. Being with God is the answer, always. God is always with those who love and obey him. Let us strive to be with him, and our lives will be so much more peaceful and joyful.